Round 5, heat number 2. It's AK Sumner, FpvDrift, MrGeekFPV, and FpvFree. They have placed their quads out at the starting blocks there. AK Sumner making a last adjustment. I guess he is still yet to place his quad, but there he goes, getting that all put together. As the pilots now arrive at the flight line to commence their round 5 race. Okay, our pilots are in position. We're collating spotters now. Looks like they're all hooked up and ready to go. And we need something to start the scoring computer. Oh, John's got it. All right, we're just waiting for scoring now.
Spotters ready. On the toes.
My dog is being beat.
Let's race.
And now waiting for a tone. 4 quads up into the air. A little bit of contact out there.
No, we didn't make it.
It's AK Sumner and FpvDrift making contact just before the start gate. And we are going to false start that one and restart that race. So everybody back on the ground there. And we'll try this one again, replace the quads, and see if we can make that happen again. Okay, so it is AK Sumner, FpvDrift, MrGeekFPV, and FpvFree now making their way back to the flight line after having set up their quads. A little bit of a kerfuffle there at the beginning of the race there, as neither 2 of the pilots did not even reach the starting gate. So we're going to make that a do-over.
Spotters ready.
And now we're just awaiting
Pilots ready.
the pilots, the spotters, everyone's good to go. And it's down to the scoring clock now.
Let's race.
There we go, a good start. This time 4 into the air, and not so good for one of them. It's FpvDrift contacting the start gate and cartwheeling off directly ahead of the start, the line of flight on the start there. So he has made his way back into the air just as MrGeekFPV runs into misfortune out there on the backstretch. And we'll get 4 in the air yet on this race. Looks like Mr. Geek is still battling to get back into the skies here. And yeah, very vertical launch for him. He's back alive. And 4 are flying once again. So after all that, it's AK Sumner making first blood on this round. He's through the gate first at 38.797, followed closely by FpvFree, 42 seconds. Mr. Geek at 50 flat. He's going to have some making up to do. FpvDrift still running into trouble out there. Just made a little bit of dust on the backstretch there. And he'll be flipping it over here, trying to get that thing back into the air. So a bit of a horse race right now. The 3 that were out there and were only about 10 seconds apart have closed the gap a little bit. It's AK Sumner still in front. FpvFree about a second after that. And only a few seconds later is Mr. Geek. So that gap is definitely closing up. Only a 4-second gap between the first 3 pilots right now. So we'll see how well AK Sumner does to hold that lead. They're both in the corkscrew as Mr. Geek and AK Sumner. FpvFree now.
5 seconds.
With 5 seconds left in the race, it's Sumner and Geek now right on top of each other going through that gate. So Mr. Geek pushing hard to get that first place points back there. That doesn't really reflect on the lap time there. It was 36:31, but definitely a much closer go through that gate there on that one. So we're going to keep our eyes on the first two there. It's Mr. Geek and Sumner. Mr. Geek hits the gate out there. He's upside down on the ground. AK Sumner perseveres to get the 10. Mr. Geek is able to get back up into the air. FpvDrift is down. Mr. Geek makes it through. FpvFree. So that was a heck of a race, folks. All sorts of action on that one, and we'll sort it out here on the standings. So how about this one, folks? Let's take a look at this one real close on where those times are. 4 laps in the 1, 2, 3. And look at the times, 2:25, 2:36, 2:39. So everyone kind of arriving through the gate at once. And even FpvDrift with 2 laps comes through the gate almost the exact same time. So crazy little scramble there at the end. AK Sumner comes out on that one ahead, picks up the 10 points. Mr. Geek, even though a little bit of trouble out there on the track, does recover, picks up his 6 points on the day here, and let's go take a look and see what that does on the race day standings. Mr. Geek now a solid 10 points ahead on the standings there. It's FpvFree and Sumner still keeping the heat on behind him there, 32 points each. FPV Maverick, who is up on this next race, is only 2 points behind that. So those are your contenders for today with only one more round. Excuse me, there's 2 rounds left to go after this. So 20 points still of potential gain there. So Smock could make a 42 if no one else gets any points. He can get himself up into the leaderboards. And Hazard FPV, same thing for him. Can't make first, second, third. So, yeah, Smock has a shot still. Hazard is kind of out of it right now as far as contention. But it's all about the season points, and we'll get that to you after this next round. Is round 5, heat number 3 coming up.